Hello besties, welcome back to my channel. So in this video we'll be learning how to make this beautiful tube dress, but mine is carrying a strap according to my client's preference. Now trust me, my camera didn't bring the details of this dress. You need to see the drape on the net, like it's really beautiful. So we're making both the tube and the net, but this is part one of this video and we're only going to be making the tube with a strap here. I kid you not, every part of this video is very detailed. That's why it is this long. So I have my 6 yards of Ankara fabric with me and I'm using a bar lining for it. So this is my basic bodice pattern. Now I've gone ahead to do my shoulder slope, every other thing aside taking the circumference measurements. Okay, so I have my chest line, I have my bust point line, I have my under bust, and I have my waist. So I'm adding extra 2 inches to it because you know, if you're used to my video, you know whenever I'm making any pattern that has a bust dart, I'm always adding extra 2 inches because you know that bust dart will crease it away, okay, so that the measurements can still be equal by the time we are done. So I'll go ahead to take my nipple to nipple measurement. Okay, my nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches. Divide by 2 will give you 4. So this is 4 I am marking, but I will extend it to the chest line. So the nipple to nipple measurement, which is the 4 inches, is extending from the new waistline that we just made now straight to the chest line. Okay, so now the dart intake I normally use, this person's bust is 42, so I'm using 2.5 as a dart intake. Okay, but I'm doing unequal dart. So to the left I will measure 1.5 of an inch extending to the under bust line, and to the other side I will measure 1 inch. So I've distributed the 2.5 like so: 1 inch to this side, then 1.5 inch to this other side, because I am making unequal dart. Okay, so after that, at the bust point, come down by ½ inch and go up by ½ inch also. Now you can also call that line the nipple point line, okay, or bust point, anyhow you understand it. So make sure you are placing your ruler the same way you see me place my ruler, okay, to connect it. Make sure you will not placing it in a way that it will give you sharp edge, okay, so that your bustier doesn't come out looking sharp at the nipple point. So after that, you see the neckline side, I use 3 inches as my neckline. So whatsoever is remaining from that neckline, like that is that slope line, divide it into 2, okay, then mark the midpoint, then connect a straight line to the chest line. Okay, you can see what I'm doing. So you just connect a straight line like so. So after connecting a straight line, the next thing you'll be doing now is to determine how covered you want your bustier to be, how high you want it to be. Now the higher you come up, the more covered it is, especially if you're dealing with a busty client. Okay, so you can decide to come up with 2 inches, you can decide to do 2.5, you can decide to do 3 inches. It all depends on your client's preference if she does not want her boobs opened. Okay, so here I'm using 2.5. After marking 2.5 on the straight line, I'm doing my over bust tightening. So I'm marking 1 inch to the right and 1 inch to the left from the straight line. Take notes. So from that 1 inch I just marked, I will connect it straight to the ½ inch we came up with earlier from the bust point, which is the nipple point. I will mark it straight. Can you see what I'm doing? So I'm just connecting. Now this 1 inch I took to the left, 1 inch I took to the right is going to serve as the tightening, so that the over bust part, it doesn't end up opening up like it will be covered. Okay, so after doing that, you just connect it from that tightening you just made, connect it straight down. Now if you're connecting it back to the chest line, it means you want to have a sweetheart neckline. Okay, if you don't want it like that, if you don't want any sweetheart neckline, just connect it straight. Okay, so now you connect it straight to the armhole area. Also just make sure you're connecting it nicely so that it will fit into the armhole curve that we've created earlier. So after that, I'll go ahead to take my waist measurement, the normal waist measurement. Her waist measurement is 8.5. Then the 2.5 inch I used for that intake, I will return it because you know we'll be cutting it away Okay, so I will return it, and after that I will go ahead and add my 1.5 of an inch for seam allowance. If you use to my videos, you know I use 1.5 for seam allowance. Okay, so I'm adding all of my allowance to the pattern, and that's what I normally do before cutting on my fabric. Okay, so I'll go ahead and take the side dart from the chest line, come down by 2 inches on the midpoint, go in by ½ inch, then connect a straight line like this. Okay, so after connecting the line now, what we are going to do, we will have to crease the upper part. Okay, now you just measure the dart in between the middle and replace it. You know, on the chest line now, we'll be cutting that part away for the tightening. If you do not replace it, at the end of the day, your measurements will not be complete. Okay, so don't forget to return it. Now, I will always say any dart you remove for any kind of tightening, always return it back. Okay, so now you know we've returned the 2 inches for the side dart to the lower part from the beginning of the video. So now we have to crease the upper part. We have to tighten it to see if it's connecting well. So I have to slit it open straight to the nipple point line, which is the apex line. So you see where I slitted mine up to. So I'm just cutting the paper so that it will be easier for me to work on. Okay, so after doing that, the next thing you want to do now is to go ahead and close the side dart. From the beginning, I said we'll be closing the side dart, okay, because we don't need it. That's why I added another 2 inches from the beginning of the video. So please take note of all the details. So after that, I'll just go ahead and tape it down, and after taping it down, we'll go ahead and crease the upper part to see if the upper part is equal with what we are doing. So it is necessary for all this creasing, closing and remarking, because you see that the lines will no more be equal. Okay, so you have to take notes. So on this other part, I'm just going to crease it to see if the lines are aligning. The tightening I did on the over bust, I just want to see if they are aligning. Okay, and by the end of the day, after folding it, they are aligning. So if you're still watching this video to this point, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, like, share and comment for more detail and explanatory videos. So you can see I'm just marking it, reconnecting it. So the next thing you just go ahead to do now is to cut everything off. Okay, we just go ahead to cut everything off, then we are done with the front pattern. Okay, so I'm just reconnecting this part because I feel like it is too low, like the sweetheart is too low. I want it higher a bit. Okay, so after that, I'm just tipessing it so that we don't get confused with what I'm doing. So you can see what we have here. The pattern is already neatly done. I kid you not, if you follow this pattern to the end and try it out, please don't forget to tag me, because the outcome you will really love the outcome. So you can see me, I'll go ahead and cut everything out, and after cutting out, we will go straight to the back pattern. Okay, so for the back pattern is our normal basic pattern that we're using for it. I've already drafted it. This is what we have. I've done my shoulder, I've done my neckline, armhole area. I went ahead and input my dart, but I'm extending the dart to the chest line because it's a bustier we're making. Okay, so that it will have firmness, a little tightening. Okay, so now I'm taking my waist measurement. I've added the 1 inch for the dart intake, and I've added 1.5 for my seam allowance. I've done all of that here. So the next thing we'll be doing now is to determine the neckline for the back. How low do you want it? How high do you want it? But my advice is, if you're working with a bustier, if you're working on a tube dress, something that does not have shoulders, okay, don't go too low. If not, it will not hold well. It won't hold properly. Okay, so you can see me carrying the front pattern to mark where the armhole line will start from. Okay, so I will just go ahead and connect it. You can see that my connection is still resting on the chest line, because what I have noticed working with a tube, if you go below your chest line, you go down, you want to make a v-neck for a tube dress, it doesn't turn out well, it won't hold your boobs. Okay, so don't make that mistake. So after connecting like this, I'll go ahead and do my zipper tightening. I'll add 1.5 for zipper allowance, then I will connect it, and after that I will go ahead and do the zipper tightening. So I also have a basic bodice pattern video with zipper tightening on my channel. You can search for it. So now I will come in by 1/2 inch, connect it straight to the chest line. That 1/2 inch I'm removing for zipper tightening, I will return it to the side, okay? Because we'll be cutting the center back where we did that tightening away. So after returning it, I will connect. And after connecting, I will go ahead and cut my pattern. The back pattern is ready. So one thing I want to bring to your notice is that at this point, that armhole curve for the back is too sharp. So I will advise you just make yours straight, okay? So that it doesn't give you this edge, because I ended up trimming it away at the end of the video. After sewing the material, it was too sharp. I had to make it straight, so the back pattern was straight. Okay, so this is what we have. I will go ahead and slit this one open. I'm extending the dart all the way. Okay, so I will slit it open. Then when I want to join now, I will add 1/2 inch to both sides, because that's how I like sewing my corset and my bustier. At the back, I'm always slitting it open. Okay, but it's not necessary. You can decide to pick your dart and sew it. Okay, so now the back pattern and the front pattern is ready. The next thing, I'll cut on my fabric off camera to save time. So here are my fabrics. I've gone ahead to cut. What I did, I added 1/2 inch all round. Okay, this is the back pattern. I added 1/2 inch. You know, the 1/2 inch is what you will use to join them together. See the front, I added 1/2 inch even to the upper part and the armhole area. It is only the sides of this pattern I didn't add 1/2 inch, because we already have our 1.5 seam allowance on the paper. Okay, so now I will go ahead and create the wording we will be using for it. So from the under bust, come down by 1/2 inch, connect it this way. You see how I connected it? From the under bust, come down by 1/2 inch. On this other side, come down by 1/2 inch also. Okay, so now you determine how wide you want it, how big you want the wording to be. Okay, so from your bust circumference, come in by 1 inch, carry your curve ruler. Okay, then connect it straight to that 1/2 inch you came down with from the under bust line earlier. Can you see what I'm doing? This is how to get your wording for your tube correctly. So on the upper part, determine how high you want it, how low you want it, anyhow you want it, but you make sure that wherever the wording is ending on this pattern on the right, it is ended the same way on the pattern on the left. Okay, so that when you sew, they will match, they will be equal. Okay, so you can see me connecting it, the upper part. So when I connect the upper part now, you know I marked it 1/2 inch 1/2 inch. So when I connect it, I'll go ahead and connect this other part straight to this side again. It has to be curved. Okay, so you can see how I am taking my time to curve it. So after doing this now, get a fresh paper. Okay, because you still need this pattern, get a fresh paper. The parts that you've just connected, mark them. You can see I'm using my tracing wheel to trace it on a fresh paper, so that when I'm cutting, it is this paper I will use to go and cut on my wording. Okay, I will not cut this main pattern because I still need it. As far as I'm not done sewing the clothes, I cannot trash my pattern, because if I make any mistake, it is the pattern I will use to correct it. Okay, so after tracing it, I forgot to trace this upper part, this other part of this one. So you can see me placing it back to retrace it. So after tracing it, I will go ahead and cut it out. I know you cannot see it, but I see it. Okay, so the tracing wheel is very, very important if you have it. So you just connect it. After tracing that part out, you just connect it. You can see how I'm connecting it. Just connect all the lines. you see the shape is coming out, right? So I will connect everything and I will go ahead and cut it out. So after cutting this paper out, it is this paper I will carry to go and cut on my wording. This new paper I'm tracing out, that's what I will take to go and cut on my wording. Okay, so now this is it. This is the two parts of the wording. So I will go ahead and add extra half inch. Okay, because you know that we added half inch to the main fabric after cutting. So if you did not add half inch to your wording is going to be smaller than the main fabric. Okay, so that's why I'm adding the half inch back to the wording so that it will match. At the end of the day, it matches with the fabric. Okay, so just add it, and you are only adding to the center. You are not adding to the side. So you see the half inch I added. I hope you're grabbing it at this point and you're not confused. Okay, so this is my wording. I will just go ahead and place the paper on the wording and cut. So I'm sorry this video is actually quite long, and that's because I really just want us to really grab it properly. And again, I felt like all of my other videos I've been making, they've been too fast and they've not been detailed enough. And that was because I was scared of making too lengthy videos, because I realized people, they don't watch it once they see that it is lengthy. But I really do not care about that anymore. Anybody that finds my video helpful, no matter the length, will still watch it. So I would rather you gain something from watching a lengthy clip than just rushing over the whole process. It really took me a lot of time to bring this video down to this minutes, because it's over 1 hour putting all the videos together. Okay, so that is that about that. Please don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to comment. Please comment. I like your comments, even if it is not a positive feedback. It helps me grow. That's how I know that, okay, this is what I'm doing wrong. And it is those comments that has even helped me to like, let me just be more detailed in my video. So please, whether they are not positive feedback, every feedback is very important. So please don't forget to comment. Okay, so you can see me like this, cutting the wording. After cutting the wording, the next thing I will do now is to go ahead and iron it on the fabric. Okay, so the center front wording is on fold. So you can see what we've done. This is the wording. This is my fabric. I've arranged the wording on my fabric, but I've not ironed it. Okay, so I will go ahead and iron so that we don't get confused. This is what we've done. You know the center front, you are going to cut it on fold, not separately. Okay, so that's why I'm bringing back the pattern, so you don't get confused. Okay, so the center front is on fold. So you can see my fabric. You spread it open and spread your wording on it. Then go to your ironing table, press it, iron it until it is thick, very sticky to the material that you cannot pull it out. Okay, so you iron it. Make sure your iron is very hot. That's why I have a fabric on top of it, so that it doesn't burn the material I'm working with. So I'll just go ahead, iron everything, and after ironing everything, we will go straight to sewing it. So with iron, I will go and join them together now. So you put them together. Make sure you're joining, you are starting from the lower part, okay, not the upper part. And when you're sewing a bustier is tricky, kind of. You can see that I'm pinning it down. Please pin your own, or if you're very good at it, you don't have to pin. But pinning gives you a very accurate work. Okay, so you just sew it with that half an inch we added to the fabric. Use it to join it together. I will do the same thing to the lining. Okay, so this is the front pattern of the lining. I'll go ahead and join them together also. So after joining them now, the next part now will be going to also join the back pattern together. So after joining, this is what we have. Okay, you can see it. This is it. I've gone ahead to join it together. I have not notched it. So what you would do now, just go ahead and notch it. If you do not notch it, it's not going to relax for you at all. You can notch and even trim it so that it's the joining will be so tiny. After notching it, you can see how relaxed it is. Can you see it? So now this is the lining. I've notched the lining also. Okay, so after that, the back pattern, here is the back pattern. So we're just going to go ahead to join the back pattern. Don't forget, we also added half an inch, and you know that the back pattern, we slitted it into two also. So we'll be joining the back pattern, we'll be joining the main fabric together, and we will also be joining the lining together. Okay, so this is what we have. I'll go ahead and join the main fabric and join the main lining together. Okay, so when your join is half inch, you are joining with. This is what we have. I'm just trying to get the correct placement for it. So now I will just go to the machine now and join them together. So after joining them together, the next thing we'll be doing now is to go ahead and iron it. So here on the ironing table, see what I'm doing. Spread it open. Spray water on it so that it can relax very well. Spread it open and iron it down. Okay, so what I'm doing for this part, I'll do it for the other part. I'll also do it for the line. You can see that my iron is very hot, so please take note of that. So what I'm doing for this one, I'll go ahead and do it for the other side off camera. Then we can now go straight to cut the strap. Now the strap is very detailed and explanatory. Straps for it, because I said the gown is carrying a strap. Okay, so here is what I have. The width is 2.5 for each strap. It's very long because I've not gotten the full length. I want to show us how to get the right measurements of strap for the gown. Okay, so we'll keep this aside. Now for the front, you know we use 16 inches for the gown half length while we were working, but this was the former waistline. Okay, when we were working, before we added this extra 2 inches for the side dart. Okay, so now because we use 16 inches, 16 plus 2, that will be 18 inches, right? So because my strap will be resting on this dart line, in between this dart line. Okay, so that's why I'm using this part to measure it. So because I don't want to push the strap to the sides too much, I want it at the dart level. So what I will do now, measure 18 inches. So starting from the edge of the paper here, I'll place my 18 inches here. Okay, so now you can see that it's giving us our correct measurement. If you remember from the beginning, we used 9.5 for the chest line, so you can see that the 9.5 is resting on the chest line. All right, so if you measure from this part upwards, now you'll see that we used about 7 inches. We remove about 7 inches away from it. Okay, so if you remove 7 inches from it, it means for the front strap, for the front, I need 7 inches. I have to add, the strap has to be 7 inches long to fit in. Okay, so plus the half inch we now use to join the 7 inches to this part on the main fabric. Okay, so that will be 7.5 for the front strap. So the next one is so like I was saying, the front strap is 7 inches we need. So 7 plus the half inches we use to join it to this place will be 7.5 for the front strap. So for the both side of the front, I need 7.5 long of strap. But now I cannot just go ahead and cut 7.5 because I don't want it to have a joining at the shoulder. Okay, so I have to measure for the back strap also to know how many inches we need. So this is the back pattern, and also I want the back pattern strap to rest on the dart. Okay, on the dart place. Okay, so what I will do now is, you know, it's 16 inches for the half length. We didn't do a side dart on the back, so we didn't add extra 2 inches. It's still on our normal waistline. Okay, so I'll go ahead and measure 16 inches. Okay, I can actually do without this one. I'll measure 16 inches from the edge of the paper. When I measure 16 inches, you can see that the back strap is going to be longer than the front strap. Here I have about 8.5, or let's say 8 3/4 approximately. Okay, so 8 3/4 if you add half an inch to 8 3/4, it will give you 9.25. So what we have now, the half an inch I'm adding is for the joining, same way we added for the front. Okay, so 9.25. So 9.25 plus 7.5 for the front, because it's not going to carry joining, so we'll have to add the two together. Okay, so for the back is 9.25 plus joining allowance. The front is 7.5 plus the joining allowance. Okay, so we're going to add everything together. So let's say 9 plus 7 will give us 16. Then 0.5 plus 0.25 will give us 3/4 of an inch, which is 0.75. So we'll be having 16 and 3/4 for the full strap. Okay, so here is what we'll be having: 16 and 3/4. I hope you understand this part. So it means that my strap is going to be 16 and 3/4 inch long for the front and the back. Okay, so now what I will do now, I'll just go ahead and cut the both of them according to my measurement. Okay, so that's the part I just want to explain. Then I'll just cut it to move to the next step. So here I already have the straps cut out, so I'll go ahead and fold it into two. Then I will run a straight stitch. I'm folding on the wrong side. Okay, so after running straight stitch, I will turn it. So after turning it, I'll go ahead and place it. You see that joining part on the boobs part, that's the dart area, and from the beginning I told you that's where my strap will be. Okay, so I will place the strap in between the lining and the main fabric, right side of the lining facing the right side of the fabric. Take note of that. Okay, so after placing it this way, I will pin it down. Make sure that the dart parts, they are meeting. The dart of the fabric is meeting with the dart of the lining. Okay, the joinings. So I'll go ahead and sew it all around. After sewing it, this is what we have. I'll go ahead and turn it to the right side. So after turning it to the right side, this is what it looks like. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and add the strap to the back part also. I add the strap to the back of it. So here is the back. I have not torn with lining because we need to add the strap first, same way we did with the front. Okay, so you place your lining on your fabric, right side facing right side of the lining facing right side of the fabric. Bring your strap, arrange it on it. Please arrange it properly on it. Okay, so just go ahead and arrange your strap. Open it up, place it this way. Make sure it is straight so that you don't get it twisted, because you have to lose. In fact, I made that mistake while making this video, so please take note of that. So you place it, cross check if it's straight enough. Okay, then the strap is coming in between the lining and the main fabric, same way we did for the front. Go ahead and sew it round, and after sewing it round, you go ahead to turn it to the right side. So after turning it, this is what we have. Now we're going to join the sides together. Okay, so after joining the side, the upper part is done. Let's move to the skirt part. So this is the front pattern of my skirt. It's a dartless skirt I'm using. Now this thing came out so nice. If you've not seen my video on how to draft your dartless skirt, please go and watch it. I also have a detailed video on how to sew it, because this video became too long. Imagine 30 something minutes. So I have to make the skirt part very fast. But a detailed video of how to sew this dartless skirt is on my page. I'll drop the link in the description box for us to see. Okay, so first of all, join the lining and the fabric together, starting from the lower part of the skirt. Okay, so after joining it, you see that the lining is shorter than the main fabric, because I make the main fabric longer than the lining, because I want to turn it so that the fabric can come up a bit. You can see what we have there. So now this is the front pattern ready. Just go ahead and iron it properly. Then we'll repeat the same thing for the back pattern. The same thing we've done for the front. Now we will go ahead and repeat it for the back pattern. After flipping it to the right side, this is what we have. Okay, go ahead and iron it. For the back pattern, this is the back pattern on the table. If you check the pattern very well, you can see our hip allocation and all the altercation we did. this video of this skirt is a must wash. Go and wash it, okay? So now the same thing we turned the lining with the front pattern is same thing we are doing with the back. And after turning it, this is what we have, okay? So now you pick it, just take it to the right side, then go ahead to your ironing table, give both the front and back of this dress a very good press, okay? So after pressing it properly, we will go ahead to attach the upper part to the lower part of the dress. So here is the front pattern. Fold it into two, okay? Notch the middle, fold the upper part into two also, and notch the middle, okay? So what you have to do now, you know the sides are joined together. Open up the sides. So what I will advise you, don't join your upper bodice together yet, okay? So you do your skirt, add your skirt to it before you join it together, because me, I have to loosen it, okay? So now I've gone ahead to join the upper part to the lower part. Can you see what we have for only the front pattern? So we'll now go ahead to join the back pattern. Now make sure that you check the center back of your skirt so that you put it in the right place, okay? So now you bring them together like this and join. You do the same thing for the other side. So after joining everything, this is what we have at the moment. So the what's remaining now is the center, is the side. We have to join the sides together. Remember, is 1.5 of an inch we added. We are going to be using 1 inch to join the side, because you know we've joined the lining and the fabric together with quarter of an inch, and the seam allowance that is remaining in this dress is 1.5 for the sides, okay? So after joining the side, we'll go ahead and join the zipper part. This is me marking the 1.5 for the zipper part, where the zipper will start and where it will end. So the skirt is carrying a slit. Now if you want to know how many length I use for the slit, I use 15 inches from the upper part of the gown to, can you see what I'm showing us? What I measured is 15 inches. That's the full length of the slit, okay? I use 15 inches for the slit, measuring from the lower part of the skirt, okay? So after that, this is where I'm going to sew. I'm just going to make a straight stitch. After sewing it, this is what we have. I'll flip it to the right side so that we can attach our zipper to it. So I'll go ahead to the sewing machine now and attach the zipper to it. And after attaching the zipper, we're done with the gown. And here is the outcome of what we've been working on. Can you see how nice it is? Can you see how beautiful it turned out to be? So don't forget to tag me. I'm on all social media platforms, okay? Tag me when you try it out. Let me see what you've done. So stick around for part 2 on how we'll be making the net, okay? See you. Bye.